What if the secrets of creation and humanity's destiny were hidden in plain sight? What if the beginning of everything was not random, but a divine masterpiece filled with mysteries waiting to be unraveled? Venture with us into the book of Genesis, a journey through the dawn of time, where enigmas, ancient wisdom, and cosmic revelations collide to reshape our understanding of existence. In the beginning, before time had a name, the universe was a vast, formless void, a silent canvas awaiting the master artist's touch. The opening verses of Genesis reveal a breathtaking act of divine creation. Over 6 days, God spoke the cosmos into existence with a word that resonated through the fabric of reality. Light burst forth from darkness. The heavens were divided from the earth. Land and sea emerged in perfect harmony. Every star, every planet, every swirling galaxy was meticulously arranged, reflecting a design of sublime precision and unfathomable beauty. This narrative isn't merely a chronological account, it is a poetic declaration of order triumphing over chaos. The Creator's command, "Let there be light," echoes as a testament to the power of divine will. As we contemplate these miraculous beginnings, we are compelled to ask, what does this grand act of creation reveal about the nature of God? And how does it shape our understanding of our place within the cosmos? With these questions stirring our hearts, we now transition to the intimate realm of humanity's origins within this vast creation. Amid the splendor of God's newly fashioned universe, a garden of unimaginable beauty was planted in Eden, a sanctuary where nature flourished and every need was met by divine providence. In this haven, Adam and Eve, the first human beings, were created in the very image of God, endowed with life, reason, and a unique capacity for relationship. Eden was not only a physical paradise of lush vegetation and tranquil waters, but also a spiritual realm where man walked in unbroken communion with the Creator. In this idyllic setting, there was an inherent innocence and purity. Every element of creation functioned in perfect harmony. Yet, this paradise was also a place of choice, where the freedom to obey or disobey carried profound consequences. The sanctity of Eden was intended to be eternal, a divine promise of abundance and peace. But the very gift of free will introduced a potential for disruption. As you envision the vibrant life in Eden, ponder this. How does the beauty and perfection of paradise serve as both a promise and a warning about the fragility of human nature? With these reflections, we now transition to the moment that forever altered the course of human destiny. In the heart of Eden's perfection, a shadow crept in, a cunning serpent whose whispers sowed seeds of doubt in the minds of Adam and Eve. The moment of the fall is one of the most pivotal events in the biblical narrative, marking the transition from divine fellowship to a fractured relationship with God. Temptation appeared in the form of a forbidden fruit, promising enlightenment and power beyond measure. The serpent's insidious question, "Did God really say you must not eat from any tree?" blurred the lines between obedience and defiance. Overwhelmed by curiosity and the allure of autonomy, Eve reached for the fruit, and soon after, Adam followed. In that fateful act, the innocence of humankind was shattered. The harmonious communion with the Creator gave way to guilt, shame, and a profound sense of loss. With their eyes opened to a harsh new reality, Adam and Eve were forced to confront the consequences of their disobedience, a separation not only from God, but from the pure essence of the life they once knew. This dramatic fall introduces us to the complexity of free will and the heavy burden of choice. As you reflect on the profound sorrow and the seismic shift of that moment, ask, what does the fall reveal about the nature of temptation and the inherent vulnerability of the human heart? With these somber questions echoing in our souls, we now transition to the legacy of that tragic event, its impact on human relationships, and the unfolding narrative of redemption. The consequences of Adam and Eve's disobedience did not remain confined to a single moment in time. They reverberated through the generations, shaping the very fabric of human existence. The fall introduced sin into the world, disrupting the divine order and fracturing the intimate bond between humanity and God. This rupture brought with it a cascade of hardships, pain, suffering, and a deep sense of alienation that continue to define the human condition. In the aftermath, every relationship, every social structure, was touched by the stain of disobedience. The legacy of the fall is not solely one of despair. It also sets the stage for a dramatic narrative of redemption and hope. Biblical accounts show that the brokenness resulting from sin creates a longing for restoration, a yearning that propels humanity toward the pursuit of divine grace. As the descendants of Adam and Eve spread across the earth, the consequences of that ancient act manifested in various forms: family strife, societal injustice, and a persistent struggle with moral ambiguity. Yet, even in the midst of this pervasive corruption, a promise of restoration begins to emerge, a covenant that hints at the possibility of healing and renewal. Reflect on how the echoes of the fall still influence your own life and relationships. How do the challenges you face connect to that primordial fracture, and what hope can be gleaned from the promise of redemption? With these reflections guiding our understanding, we now transition to the story of Cain and Abel, a poignant narrative that further illustrates the profound impact of sin on human relationships. The story of Cain and Abel stands as one of the earliest and most tragic accounts of sin's destructive power on human relationships. Born of the same parents, Cain and Abel represent the duality of human nature, the struggle between jealousy and righteousness. Cain, a tiller of the ground, and Abel, a keeper of sheep, each brought offerings to God. However, while Abel's offering was accepted, Cain's was rejected, setting the stage for a deep-seated envy that festered within him. Consumed by bitterness and unable to reconcile his own inadequacies, Cain's jealousy culminated in the first act of murder, killing his own brother, Abel. This fratricide was not merely an isolated incident, but a profound illustration of how sin can fracture the bonds of kinship and lead to irreversible tragedy. The narrative is laden with symbolism. The mark on Cain, for instance, signifies both divine judgment and a lingering reminder of the consequences of unchecked anger and pride. The tale of Cain and Abel forces us to confront the painful reality that even the closest of relationships can be torn apart by internal strife and moral failure. It raises piercing questions about the nature of jealousy, the responsibility we bear toward one another, and the profound effects of sin on community and family. As you reflect on this harrowing story, ask yourself, what lessons can we learn from the tragedy of fraternal conflict? And how might we guard our hearts against the corrosive power of envy? With this somber meditation on the cost of sin, we now transition to the genealogies that trace the lineage of humanity, setting the stage for further exploration of divine intervention in the midst of human frailty. Following the catastrophic events of the fall and the tragedy of Cain and Abel, the book of Genesis presents detailed genealogies that trace the lineage of humanity. These genealogical records serve multiple purposes. They establish historical continuity, underscore the fulfillment of divine promises, and reveal the interwoven tapestry of human existence. Each name listed in these ancient records carries with it stories of triumph, sorrow, and the enduring quest for identity and belonging. The genealogies not only highlight the continuity of the human race, but also mark the transmission of divine blessings and curses through generations. They illustrate that the legacy of sin and redemption is passed down from one generation to the next, a reminder that the choices of our ancestors continue to shape our present. Yet, amid these long lists of names, there are also glimpses of hope, the promise that, despite the pervasive effects of sin, God's plan for restoration remains intact. These records reveal a deeper narrative of a people chosen by God, a people who, even in the face of overwhelming adversity, are destined to witness the unfolding of divine history. As you examine these ancient lineages, consider the profound implications of your own heritage and the ways in which history, both personal and collective, influences your identity. How do the stories of those who came before you inspire you to live with purpose and resilience? With this reflection on lineage and legacy, we now transition to one of the most dramatic events in Genesis, the Great Flood, a divine reset for a world steeped in corruption. In the midst of human wickedness and moral decay, the story of the Great Flood emerges as a cataclysmic event that redefines the relationship between God and humanity. As depicted in Genesis, the earth had become corrupt beyond measure, and the wickedness of humankind had reached a level that grieved the heart of the Creator. In response, God decided to cleanse the world through a great deluge, a sweeping, all-encompassing act of divine judgment. Yet, amid this catastrophic event, there was also a message of hope and renewal. Noah, a man of unwavering righteousness, was chosen by God to build an ark, a vessel of salvation that would preserve life through the coming storm. The narrative of the flood is a powerful testimony to the dual nature of God's character, righteous judgment balanced by boundless mercy. It speaks of a world reset, where the corrupt are swept away, and a new beginning is offered to those who remain faithful. The imagery is both awe-inspiring and terrifying. A deluge that covers the earth, a remnant saved to repopulate and restore the land. As you reflect on this dramatic episode, consider the profound implications of divine judgment and the possibility of rebirth that follows even the greatest of devastations. What does the flood teach us about the consequences of collective sin and the promise of renewal? With these heavy questions in our hearts, we now transition to the covenant that God made with Noah, a promise that would forever alter the course of history. After the devastating deluge, God established a covenant with Noah, a divine promise that served as a beacon of hope for all of creation. This covenant, marked by the sign of the rainbow, was not only a guarantee that the earth would never again be destroyed by a flood, but also a profound reminder of God's enduring commitment to his creation. In the aftermath of the flood, Noah and his family emerged as the new progenitors of humankind, tasked with repopulating the earth and upholding divine standards. The covenant is a powerful symbol of God's mercy, a pledge that despite humanity's capacity for sin, there remains an unwavering promise of renewal. It is a call to live with integrity and to honor the responsibilities bestowed upon us by our Creator. The narrative of Noah's covenant illustrates that every catastrophe carries within it the seed of regeneration, a chance for a fresh start grounded in divine love and justice. As you ponder the significance of this promise, reflect on the ways in which divine covenants shape our understanding of God's character and his expectations for us. How can we, in our own lives, embrace the hope of renewal and live as custodians of the legacy entrusted to us? With these reflections on divine mercy and promise, we now transition to a story of human ambition and divine confusion. The tale of the Tower of Babel. In the aftermath of Noah's covenant, humanity flourished, expanding across the earth with ambition and zeal. Yet with prosperity came pride, a pride that would lead to one of the most emblematic acts of defiance against divine order: the construction of the Tower of Babel. Determined to make a name for themselves and to reach the heavens, the people united in a colossal effort to build a tower that would pierce the sky. This audacious project, however, was not merely an architectural endeavor. It was a profound manifestation of human hubris, a belief that man could achieve greatness independent of God's will. As the tower rose higher, so did the arrogance of its builders, who disregarded the divine mandate to spread across the earth. In response, God intervened with a mighty act of judgment. He confused their language, fracturing their unity, and scattering them across the globe. The Tower of Babel stands as a timeless symbol of the dangers of pride and the inevitable consequences of defiance. It reminds us that true progress is not measured by the height of our ambitions, but by our humility and obedience to divine wisdom. As you reflect on this dramatic episode, ask yourself, what lessons can we draw from the fall of Babel about the perils of unity without purpose and ambition without humility? With the echoes of this ancient catastrophe in our hearts, we now transition to the next chapter, a journey into the call of a patriarch whose faith would alter the course of history, the call of Abram. In the midst of a fractured world, God called upon a man named Abram, a call that would forever change the destiny of a people and shape the very foundation of faith. Abram's call, as recorded in Genesis, was a divine summons to leave behind the familiar and venture into the unknown, guided solely by trust in God's promise. This call was radical in its simplicity and profound in its implications. Abram was urged to depart from his homeland, his family, and everything he knew, embarking on a journey toward a land that God would reveal, a land promised to be a home for his descendants. This divine invitation was not just about physical relocation. It was a call to spiritual transformation, a challenge to embrace a life of faith, obedience, and relentless pursuit of the divine vision. Abram's willingness to heed this call, despite the uncertainties and dangers that lay ahead, set him apart as a man of extraordinary courage and conviction. His journey became a symbol of the transformative power of faith, a reminder that stepping into the unknown can lead to unimaginable blessings. As you reflect on the call of Abram, ask yourself, what sacrifices are required to truly follow the path of faith, and how can embracing the unknown lead to divine fulfillment? With this powerful call to trust, we now transition to exploring the life of Abraham and the fulfillment of God's covenant promises. Following Abram's transformative call, God established a covenant with him, a sacred promise that would form the bedrock of Israel's destiny. Renamed Abraham, meaning father of many, he became the patriarch of a lineage destined to grow into a great nation. This covenant was marked by assurances of land, progeny, and blessing, both for Abraham and for all the families of the earth through him. In a dramatic and solemn ceremony, God laid down the terms of this covenant, a divine contract that underscored the unconditional love and commitment of the Creator toward his chosen people. Abraham's journey was one of profound faith and resilience, as he navigated the uncertainties of life with the promise of divine favor as his compass. His life became a testament to the power of belief, where the challenges of exile, the heartache of familial strife, and the trials of uncertainty were met with unwavering trust in God's promises. The covenant with Abraham is a narrative of hope and renewal, illustrating that even amidst human frailty, the divine plan endures. It invites each of us to ponder our own relationship with God and to consider how embracing his covenant can lead to transformative blessings. As you reflect on the enduring promise made to Abraham, ask, how can the faith and obedience of one man inspire us to trust in the divine plan for our own lives? With this covenant as our guide, we now transition to a pivotal moment of testing, the binding of Isaac. One of the most heart-wrenching and profound narratives in Genesis is the binding of Isaac, a test of faith that challenges the very core of Abraham's devotion to God. In this dramatic episode, God commands Abraham to offer his beloved son, Isaac, as a sacrifice, a request that shakes the foundations of human understanding and divine love. This act of obedience, known as the Akedah, is a poignant illustration of the lengths to which Abraham was willing to go to honor his covenant with God, even when the command seemed to defy the promise of a great nation. The tension in this story is palpable. The pain of a father facing the unthinkable, the innocent trust of a child, and the overwhelming weight of divine testing. Yet, amid the anguish and uncertainty, a profound lesson emerges, one of faith, submission, and the incomprehensible nature of God's will. As Abraham prepared to sacrifice Isaac, the heavens trembled with divine intervention, and an angel called out, halting the sacrifice at the last moment. In place of Isaac, a ram was provided, a symbol of God's mercy and the ultimate assurance that no true test of faith is meant to sever the bond between the Creator and his children. This story invites us to examine the nature of sacrifice, the cost of obedience, and the transformative power of divine grace. Reflect on how the willingness to trust, even in the face of seemingly insurmountable challenges, can reshape our destiny. With the test of faith forever etched in the annals of history, we now transition to the complex narrative of Jacob, Abraham's grandson, whose life would be marked by struggle and divine transformation. Jacob, the son of Isaac and the grandson of Abraham, emerges as one of the most complex and intriguing figures in Genesis. His early life was marked by cunning and ambition, traits that led him to deceive his brother Esau and secure the birthright and blessing intended for the firstborn. Yet, Jacob's journey is not merely a tale of deception and rivalry. It is a story of profound transformation and spiritual evolution. Throughout his life, Jacob experienced a series of dramatic encounters that reshaped his character and reoriented his destiny. One of the most pivotal moments came during his struggle with a mysterious figure at the ford of the Jabbok River, a night that would change his life forever. In that intense, all-night wrestling match, Jacob's determination and resilience were tested to their limits, and in the process, he emerged with a new name, Israel, signifying his transformation from a cunning deceiver into a man who had contended with God and prevailed. This change was not merely external. It was a deep internal renewal that reflected the maturation of his soul and the forging of his identity as the progenitor of a great nation. The story of Jacob challenges us to consider that our past missteps do not define us. Instead, they can serve as the crucible for divine refinement. As you reflect on Jacob's journey, ask yourself, how can personal struggle and the willingness to confront one's flaws lead to a higher calling? With the legacy of Jacob as a testament to the transformative power of divine encounter, we now transition to exploring the mysterious vision of Jacob's ladder, a symbol of heavenly connection and promise. In a moment of profound isolation and introspection, Jacob experienced one of the most mystical and enduring visions in the Bible, the vision of a ladder stretching from earth to heaven. As he lay on the ground, he saw angels ascending and descending on this celestial staircase, a sight that filled him with awe and reverence. This vision, rich in symbolic meaning, represented more than just a connection between the mortal and the divine. It was a powerful metaphor for the continual flow of God's grace and guidance. Jacob's ladder spoke of an eternal bridge, a pathway through which divine blessings could descend and human aspirations could rise. It was a reminder that no matter how distant or unreachable the heavens might seem, God's presence is always within reach, accessible through faith, prayer, and the pursuit of righteousness. The imagery of angels moving in unison along this ladder not only comforted Jacob, but also reinforced the idea that the spiritual realm is alive with activity and purpose. It beckoned him to rise above his earthly struggles and to embrace a destiny intertwined with the divine. As you ponder this awe-inspiring vision, ask yourself, what does it mean to have a direct, unbroken connection with the heavens? And how can that inspire you to climb higher in your own spiritual journey? With our minds uplifted by this heavenly image, we now transition to examining the formation of the 12 tribes, the foundation of Israel's enduring legacy. The vision of Jacob's ladder was not merely a personal revelation. It was also a precursor to the establishment of a nation, a divine plan that would give rise to the 12 tribes of Israel. Each tribe, descending from Jacob's 12 sons, was destined to inherit a unique portion of the Promised Land and to contribute to the unfolding tapestry of God's covenant with his people. The formation of the tribes represents a monumental moment in biblical history, a blending of divine promise and human destiny. In these genealogies, we find not only the continuity of a family line, but also the embodiment of God's commitment to bless and protect a chosen people. The tribes would later play pivotal roles in the nation's journey, serving as both carriers of tradition and agents of transformation in a world often marked by turmoil and strife. Their diverse characteristics, each tribe with its distinct identity, strengths, and challenges, reflect the multifaceted nature of God's creation. Yet, despite their differences, the tribes were united by a common destiny: to be the bearers of God's law and the vessels of his eternal promise. This narrative invites us to consider how our own communities, though diverse in many ways, are united by a shared purpose and a collective destiny. How can the legacy of the 12 tribes inspire us to embrace our unique identities while contributing to a greater whole? With these reflections on unity and destiny, we now transition to the stirring story of Joseph, a narrative filled with dreams, betrayal, and ultimately, divine providence. Joseph, one of Jacob's beloved sons, emerged as a figure of remarkable destiny and resilience, a man whose life was marked by dreams that foretold a future of greatness. From a young age, Joseph experienced vivid dreams that set him apart from his brothers, visions that symbolized both his unique role in God's plan and the trials he would endure. These dreams, filled with imagery of greatness and dominion, stirred envy and resentment among his siblings, igniting a series of events that would alter the course of his life. Betrayed by his own family, Joseph was sold into slavery, a heart-wrenching act that plunged him into a world of hardship and uncertainty. Yet, despite the darkness that surrounded him, Joseph's faith remained unbroken. His journey from the depths of despair to the heights of power in Egypt is a testament to the inexhaustible nature of divine providence. Each step of his path, from the pit to the palace, was guided by God's unseen hand, transforming adversity into opportunity and betrayal into redemption. Joseph's dreams, once the source of contention, ultimately became the cornerstone of his legacy, a legacy of forgiveness, resilience, and unwavering trust in God's plan. As you consider the life of Joseph, ask yourself, how can the fulfillment of his prophetic visions inspire you to trust in the face of adversity? With this powerful narrative of destiny and divine favor, we now transition to exploring Joseph's journey in Egypt, a story of struggle, wisdom, and the mysterious workings of God's grace. Arriving in Egypt as a slave, Joseph's life took a dramatic turn that would not only redefine his personal destiny, but also shape the future of an entire nation. In a land vastly different from his own, he faced a harsh environment rife with challenges, hostile masters, the pitfalls of political intrigue, and the constant threat of injustice. Yet, despite these trials, Joseph's unyielding faith and exceptional wisdom shone through. His ability to interpret dreams, a gift bestowed upon him by God, became his pathway to influence. When Pharaoh himself was troubled by enigmatic dreams, forecasting a period of great famine, Joseph was summoned to decipher their meaning. His interpretation, grounded in divine insight, not only impressed the ruler, but also set in motion a series of events that would elevate him to a position of power. As Pharaoh entrusted him with the management of the kingdom's resources, Joseph's life transformed from one of obscurity to prominence, a living testament to the providence of God in the midst of adversity. His story in Egypt is a rich tapestry of hardship and honor, betrayal and forgiveness, despair and triumph. It illustrates how God's wisdom can convert the most dire circumstances into stepping stones toward greatness. As you reflect on Joseph's extraordinary journey, consider how the challenges you face might be part of a larger, divinely orchestrated plan. With the lessons of perseverance and divine strategy etched in our hearts, we now transition to the emotional climax of Joseph's narrative. His reunion with his estranged brothers, and the powerful act of forgiveness that would restore his family and heal old wounds. After years of separation and strife, the long-awaited reunion between Joseph and his brothers stands as one of the most poignant and transformative moments in the book of Genesis. This chapter unfolds the dramatic climax of a saga marked by betrayal, suffering, and eventual redemption. When Joseph, now a powerful figure in Egypt, encountered his brothers once again, the tension was palpable. Their earlier treachery had left deep scars, yet fate and divine providence guided them to a moment of reckoning and reconciliation. Joseph's response was nothing short of extraordinary. Instead of exacting vengeance, he chose forgiveness, embracing his brothers with a compassion that transcended their past misdeeds. This act of mercy not only restored familial bonds, but also signified the healing power of grace, a grace that is available to all, regardless of past transgressions. The reunion is laden with emotion, sorrow for the lost years, relief at the healing of old wounds, and a renewed sense of unity that promised a better future. Joseph's forgiveness was a powerful testament to the transformative power of love, challenging us to rise above bitterness and to view our own relationships through the lens of redemption. As you reflect on this emotional climax, ask yourself, how might embracing forgiveness reshape your life and restore what has been broken? With hearts filled with hope and reconciliation, we now transition to the legacy of Joseph, a legacy that would ripple through generations and define the destiny of a nation. The story of Joseph, from his humble beginnings to his rise as a savior in Egypt, left an indelible mark on the course of history, a legacy that would shape the destiny of the people of Israel for generations to come. Joseph's life is a testament to the enduring power of divine providence and the transformative nature of forgiveness. His journey, replete with trials, triumphs, and miraculous interventions, became a cornerstone of Israel's narrative, a living example of how God's plan can bring hope and renewal even in the darkest times. The legacy of Joseph is not confined to the realm of personal redemption. It also laid the foundation for the eventual Exodus and the formation of a nation dedicated to upholding divine principles. His ability to navigate the complexities of power, his wisdom in managing crises, and his compassionate leadership serve as timeless lessons for both individuals and communities. Joseph's story invites us to reflect on the ways in which our own lives can contribute to a greater legacy, one that is defined by resilience, integrity, and the enduring promise of redemption. As you consider the long-reaching impact of Joseph's life, ask, what legacy will you leave behind, and how can your actions today pave the way for a brighter tomorrow? With this vision of enduring influence, we now transition to the promise that anchors the entire narrative. The divine covenant promised to Abraham, which heralds the future of a chosen people and the unfolding of God's eternal plan. At the heart of the book of Genesis lies the covenant of promise, a sacred agreement between God and Abraham that set the stage for the future of a chosen nation. This divine covenant was not merely a contractual arrangement. It was a profound declaration of God's unwavering commitment to bless, protect, and multiply Abraham's descendants, and through them, to bless all nations. The promise was marked by assurances of land, progeny, and everlasting favor, serving as a beacon of hope in times of uncertainty. It was a covenant that transcended human limitations, offering a vision of a future defined by divine purpose and redemption. Through this covenant, God revealed His plan for salvation and established a legacy that would be passed down through the generations. The covenant was both a gift and a responsibility, a call to live in accordance with divine principles and to uphold the moral and spiritual standards set forth by the Creator. As you reflect on this divine promise, consider how it speaks to your own life. What does it mean to be part of a larger, eternal narrative? And how does the promise of divine favor shape your identity and purpose? With the covenant as our guiding light, we now transition to the final chapter, a heartfelt call to action, inviting you to join our community of seekers in embracing these timeless truths. Our journey through the book of Genesis has been an odyssey of divine creation, human fall, and the enduring promise of redemption. A narrative woven with mystery, profound wisdom, and timeless truths. We have traversed the breathtaking act of creation, wandered through the paradise of Eden, witnessed the tragedy of the fall, and followed the unfolding of God's covenant with His people. Each chapter has revealed layers of spiritual insight that continue to challenge, inspire, and transform lives today. If the revelations and mysteries of Genesis have stirred your soul and ignited a desire to explore deeper spiritual truths, I warmly invite you to join our community. Please like this video, subscribe to our channel for more in-depth biblical explorations, and share your thoughts or personal experiences in the comments below. Your engagement enriches our collective journey and helps spread these eternal truths far and wide. Thank you for walking this transformative path with us. May the wisdom of Genesis guide you to live with purpose, integrity, and an unwavering commitment to the eternal promises of God.